CNBC has an online magazine called Make It. One of the things they write about is all the amazing, lucrative jobs you can do on the side. You'll see stories about a couple making $13,000 in passive income in 5 weeks. We only work an hour per week, they say. Then there's this RV repairman making $115,000 a year just by answering the internet's questions. Or a 29-year-old making $55,000 per week selling purses. Apparently I'm in the wrong business. Or maybe not, because one of the past trending stories is about Alice Everdeen, who quit her job and supposedly makes $15,000 a month recording voiceovers on platforms like Fiverr. She says, quote, "I only work 3 to 5 hours per day," unquote. Now, flipping through the many stories you can read on Make It, I find the following headline. I'm reading it off my monitor here. How this 34-year-old mom makes a 6-figure income as a book narrator. It's a story written by my colleague Natalie Naudus about her journey from being a church music director making $30,000 a year to becoming a successful audiobook narrator. Natalie writes, quote, "I purchased about $300 of equipment, and in just a few weeks we set up my first home studio in the hallway closet." A few things contributed to her success, says Natalie, who, by the way, has recorded nearly 400 books in 5 years. My goodness. She says, "My classical singing background trained me to use my voice for long stretches without strain, while still delivering emotion and nuance." And she says, "I put my energy into building my TikTok and Instagram accounts, giving audiobook fans glimpses into my life as a narrator. I had this vision of showing people how sexy and silly this job can be, and they loved it. As my content went viral, my audience grew. Book gigs from publishers started pouring in like never before." End quote. Mind you, Natalie has over 71,000 followers on Instagram and over 120,000 followers on TikTok, and that's just a couple of months ago. And did I mention that Natalie has won several earphone awards? Now, I don't know Alice or Natalie personally, but if everything that's written about them checks out, I am so impressed, and I'm happy for them. You don't get this many followers on social media overnight, and narrating almost 400 books in 5 years is awe-inspiring. Yet part of me is uncomfortable when I read these stories, and I'll tell you why. These are general remarks, by the way, and not comments on Natalie or Alice in particular. Number one, many of these headlines you find on the Make It website are nothing but cheap and sensational clickbait. You and I cannot verify how much all these side hustle people really make and how long it takes them to make it. Number two, in business it's never about how much you make, but how much you get to keep. You can make $100,000 in sales, but only have a profit of $2,000. Lots of businesses operate at a loss, especially in the first years that they're in business. Number three, most success stories focus on exceptions and give people a false sense of anyone can do this, and it only takes a few hours a day to make a voiceover fortune. Unfortunately, impressionable people believe what they want to believe, and there will always be folks who take advantage of that. According to the most recent voiceover survey, a majority of those questions made no more than $20,000 from VO in 2021. Most of them less. Now, that's not something online magazines ever write about, is it? I mean, who would want to read that? Having said that, warmest congratulations to Natalie on doing so well in a very competitive, tough business. Her article painted a realistic picture of what it takes to be a successful audiobook narrator. Natalie writes, "Today I work about 40 hours a week, divided between recording, office work and pre-reading and researching upcoming books. But that isn't all at once or necessarily in a 9-to-5 schedule. I will often record and answer emails during the day, then read a book in bed at night. The flexibility is helpful because the physical rigors of recording an audiobook can be intense. Usually, for 5 hours a day or more, I'm sitting completely still in a tiny room, dividing my attention between reading accurately, performing passionately, and listening for noises from outside or inside the booth." End quote. Natalie is also a perfect example of someone who made the switch from chasing books to attracting work through her positive use of social media and smart content marketing. It's something I have been advocating for years, and she is living proof that this approach pays off. Don't chase, attract. But if, for some unforeseen reason, her narration work should suddenly dry up, Natalie could always try selling handbags. I've heard you could easily make $55,000 a week. That's it for now. Take care. See you next time. Bye.